As a parent, you watch your kid grow up right before your eyes. But what happens when that growth seems like it's stuck on fast forward? We're going to talk about something called precocious puberty. And I know it's a topic that can feel a little overwhelming. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what it means, what to look for, and how you can support your child through it.
I mean, it's a question that probably crosses every parent's mind at some point, right? You see them hit another growth spurt, or they just seem a little more mature than their friends. It's a totally natural concern. The real challenge is figuring out the difference between a normal phase of growing up and something that's maybe happening just a little too soon.
All right, so to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to start with a clear definition. First things first, let's explore what doctors and specialists actually mean when they use the term precocious puberty.
Okay, so at its heart, the definition is actually pretty simple. It's basically when a child's body starts the process of changing into an adult body, puberty, way earlier than we'd typically expect. You can almost think of it like the body's internal biological clock just started ticking a bit ahead of schedule.
And this is where it gets really specific. For girls, the magic number is age 8. For boys, it's age 9. So any of those classic signs of puberty showing up before those ages, that's what crosses the line into what's clinically considered precocious. And look, these aren't just random numbers pulled out of a hat. They're the benchmarks that really guide healthcare providers. So we've got the definition, we've got the ages, but what does this actually look like in real life? What are the specific signs that you, as a parent or guardian, might actually notice in your child? Well, the signs are pretty much what you'd expect from puberty. They're just showing up way ahead of schedule. For girls, a big one is breast development. That's often one of the first things. For both boys and girls, you might start to see some pubic or underarm hair. And then there's that sudden major growth spurt, the one where they seem to shoot up overnight, but it's just happening a lot earlier than you'd think.
Now, here's something that's really, really important to hear, and it might bring a bit of relief. In the vast, vast majority of cases, there's no clear medical reason why this is happening. It's often just a super complex mix of genetics and hormones that sets a child's developmental clock to its own unique schedule. So it's crucial to remember this isn't caused by anything you did or didn't do. Okay, but wait, if there's usually no clear cause, you might be thinking, so why is a medical evaluation such a big deal? And that's a great question. It's because the focus isn't just on the physical stuff, it's also about the emotional side of growing up ahead of the curve. And this quote really just nails it. Getting things checked out early isn't about creating panic. It's all about guiding care. It's about making sure your child's growth, both physically and emotionally, stays on a healthy and supported track. So let's break down exactly what that guidance is all about. One big reason is to manage the physical changes so the body doesn't mature too fast. For young girls, it also means being prepared for the early start of their period. But honestly, this next one is huge. It's about supporting them through the psychological challenge of feeling different from all their friends. I mean, that can be a really confusing and lonely time, so that emotional support is absolutely critical. And finally, an evaluation just helps make sure their overall growth, including their final adult height, stays on a healthy path. All right, so that leads us to the big picture. Once a child has been evaluated, what's next? What does that guided care actually look like in practice? What does support really mean here? And really, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this right here. The whole approach is about the child's overall well-being. It's not just about hitting physical milestones. It's about their total emotional and social health, so they can navigate these early changes feeling understood and confident. All of this really leaves us with a much bigger question, one that applies to every single parent and every child out there. Whether a kid's development is early, late, or right on time, the main idea is exactly the same. It's all about being aware, being supportive, and making sure they have what they need to thrive, no matter what stage of the journey they're on. Thanks for watching.